Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So today I will be talking about my March TBR, and in the month of March I am participating in a readathon called Realmathon, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, but if you're not, Realmathon is a competitive team-based readathon hosted by Covers with Cassidy here on YouTube, and I will link all of that information below as well. For that readathon, I will be participating on Team Stag, which is hosted, or I guess co-hosted by Raven-Haired Reader and Tori Between Pages. So it's very romantasy, girly type of team. So I am super excited to participate on this team and just read a lot of books in March. So I won't get into like a ton of details about Realmathon, but because it's a competitive readathon, the books that you read earn you points. And so one of the ways that you can earn points is by reading bonus prompts. And so a lot of the books here that I have are aimed to focus on those bonus prompts. So the overall bonus prompt for Realmathon is that it takes place in an urban setting. And so some of the books I have here fit that, but some of them might not. A lot of them do focus on the team bonus prompts for Team Stag, which are to read a book with plants on the cover or to read a book with a non-human main character. So a lot of the books that I have focus on those two bonus prompts, but the ones that I have that don't focus on that, I believe, take place in an urban setting. And so I have not read any of these books yet, so of course I might be mistaken about some of those, but that is like overall my goal, to focus on those bonus prompts. With that being said, within Realmathon, it takes place over the month of March, but there is a 48-hour readathon that takes place on one of the weekends. I forgot which weekend it was, but I also have like a mini TBR for that as well. I'm also hoping to vlog some of it, so hopefully I am consistent with that and keep up with that. But yeah, all that being said, that is the Realmathon information. And then if you need more information, I will leave Covers with Cassidy's information below. So with that being said, I'll start off with some books I'm just hoping generally to read throughout the month of March, and then I'll talk a little bit about some that I might try to read within that 48-hour readathon. And as usual, my TBR here isn't necessarily set in stone, and I might not get to all of these. It's just kind of like some maybes, and I have some others on my bookshelves that I could always add in, but these are the ones that I'm hoping to focus on at least. So the first book that I have is Amid Clouds and Bones by Ella Fields, and so this book is a quote true enemies to lovers, where they're actually like very much enemies, romantasy, where I believe that they're in an arranged marriage, and that's really all that I know about it. I haven't read anything by Ella Fields before, so I'm very curious to see what I think about this book, and also just very excited. It is pretty short and a standalone, so this will be a good palate cleanser when I'm still wanting something fantasy, but not like a really like chunky book, or like starting a new series or something like that. So I am excited about that for this book as well. And I also just like absolutely love this cover. I also believe that so I recently joined Raven-Haired Reader's book club on Patreon, and I believe this is the book that we're supposed to read in March too. So we will see. I am very excited for this one. So the next book on my March TBR is Anathema by Carrie Lake. So this is a book that has been on my just TBR for a while now. It's a dark fantasy romance that I think like takes place in the woods or something like that. It does have trees on the cover, so those trees will be helpful for some bonus prompts, if you know what I mean. What does the back of the book say? And so the love interest in this book is an assassin. So again, I don't really know a lot about my books going into it, other than this is very gothic vibes. It's also, I think, on the somewhat darker side. I don't know if it's like super dark, but yeah, I've also heard that this one leans more fantasy and less romance, that the romance is more of a slow burn, but I do love a good slow burn, so I am still very excited to read this book as well. And so one of the books that I also have as a maybe on this list is Nocticadia by Carrie Lake, and it also has plants on the cover, as you can see by the flowers. And so this one takes place, I think, in modern day, so I think it also has an urban setting, and it's about this professor that studies this like disease that comes from worms. And I think the female main character's mom like either got sick from it or was unalived from it or something like that. The female main character, from what I know, goes to the university to learn more about this from the professor, and so it's like a student professor type of relationship, which I'm curious to see what I think about that, because I've heard so many good things about this book, and I think that it has the potential to be something that I really like, but I also don't often like student professor relationships. I'm a graduate student, and it's just very alarming to me to think about like having relationships with any of my professors. I also teach a class, also very alarming to think about having, like any kind of unprofessional relationship with a student. So, that being said, I'm very excited about this because I love academic settings. I love like the whole kind of like science and studying these worms and stuff like that. But I'm very curious to see what I think of the romance because I don't often like student teacher romances. So hopefully March will be the month of Carrie Lake for me, and hopefully I find out that I am a Carrie Lake fan. So the next book that I have on my list, I think hopefully will be somewhat of a palate cleanser between these like thicker fantasy books, and it is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley. It also has plants on the cover, and I really don't know much about this one at all. It was definitely a cover buy because like look at it. It has like vines on it. It has like all the witchy things like tarot cards and potions and crystals and stuff like that. So I am excited to read this, but I have honestly no idea what it's about. But I'm hoping that it's a little bit more lighthearted and something that will be a palate cleanser. Alright, and so the next book that I'm hoping to read in the month of March is Serpent and Dove by Rebecca Robinson. And so this one, again, I think this one might be arranged marriage, but I could be wrong about that. So March might also be the month of arranged marriage for me. And hopefully I like arranged marriage. I've also just heard really great things about this, and it has, probably can't see it on the video, but it's surrounding like the words in the dagger, there are some like vines and flowers surrounding that are like very similar to the dark purple of the cover. So I figured that would be another good one to help me get like a potential little book with plants on the cover bonus prompt in for the month of March. So I'm hoping in the month of March I have quite a lot of time to read, especially because we have spring break for my university. So I'm hoping that I'll have more time to read. With that being said, some other books that I am hoping to get to are Light Lark, which I think just has this competition that magical beings from different like parts of the world or like different gods have like people who compete in this competition for them. I could be mixing that up with the games gods play though, so but either way, I think there is a magical competition in this book. And I have heard a lot of mixed things about like this series, especially as it gets later in the series. So I figured I might try the first book, see what I think. And then if I like it, I can always, now that I have a Kindle, I can always pick up the next books on Kindle or something like that. I'm curious enough to want to keep going, but don't want to invest like more money just yet. So we will see. So this is like a maybe. It also has flowers on top of the heart. So it has plants on the cover, and a lot of these are fantasy books, so they automatically just have characters that are not humans in them. I am also hoping to read The Spell Shop. I think it's like Sarah Beth Durst or something like that. I could be wrong because I don't have the physical copy at the moment. That one, it looks very spring. The cover, it looks like it takes place in this cottage in the woods, and it's just very green, and it just makes me very happy. It also, you can like, the way that it's drawn, like you can see the sunshine on it, and so it just makes me super happy. That cover, I also think that it would be perfect to read like in the springtime based off of what it looks. So could be wrong about that, but I am hoping that in March I can read that as well. All I really know about it is that it's a cozy fantasy. Some also maybes include The 13th Child and Small Favors by Aaron A. Craig. So I'm not totally sure if I'll get to those two, but they do have plants on the cover, so I was just keeping them kind of like in the back of my mind. I do really want to read Emily Wilde book 3, which I don't have a physical copy of yet either. But yeah, I would love to read that book. I read the first 2 last year and I absolutely loved them. I thought they were so whimsical and cute and cozy. So in that series, Emily Wilde is a professor who studies fairies, and in the first book they really go on this adventure to basically investigate fairies and just, do like a field study of fairies. There's a cute little romance in there too, so like I just really enjoy that series and I would love to read the third book. The next book that I would really love to read during Realmathon is Vesseless, which I believe also has plants on the covers because again, I'm trying to get all these bonus prompts in. Really, all I know about Vesseless is that it has a ghost, I believe male main character. And so people, because of that, compare it to Phantasma a lot. And so I read Phantasma back in October and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time. It's not like my favorite book of all time by any means or anything like that, but I did have a great time with that. So now I'm very intrigued to read Vesselus as well. And then I might try to read Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole, but I know that that is like a more lengthy series that has more books out in the series right now, so I don't know if I want to quite like start that series yet. So it's just another one that like kind of in the back of my head on my radar, but not totally sure about yet. Before I get into the books I really want to prioritize on the 48-hour readathon, I'll just name a couple that I'm still currently reading that I don't think I will finish by the end of February, because today is February 28th and it is 2:41 p.m. So I might be able to finish 1 or 2 of these, but I don't think I can finish all 3. The first is Archer's Voice by, I think, Mia Sheridan, which is just a small town contemporary romance. It's pretty cute so far. I like it so far. I think that there's potential for it to have like a deeper meaning, a deeper emotional connection, because both of the main characters seem like they have these traumas in their past. So I'm really curious to see how deep and like emotionally wrought this story can be. The next one that I am currently reading is Unrelenting Winds by Melissa K. Roach, and this is just the last novella in the Lady of Darkness series. So I recently finished Lady of Starfire and just want to finish up the series Unrelenting Winds. I'm going to try to finish that today, but I don't know if I will completely finish it. And then one that I definitely am not going to finish today is The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I literally, I think I'm like on page 2 or 3 of this because I started it and then I got completely distracted, like taking care of the dogs or something like that. So I haven't gotten back to it. So I will probably wind up reading that very early in March. So yeah, those are the books that I'm currently reading that will probably carry in at least partially into March. And so now I will talk a little bit about what I might read during the 48-hour part of this. And I'm hoping to vlog the 48 hours, fingers crossed. Sometimes I have a hard time vlogging, so we'll see how that goes, but my goal is to at least try. And so if I do wind up vlogging that, I will probably go back over this TBR then, but I do want to get, throw it in there now just in case. The first book I would want to read during the 48 hours is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This is about a girl who moves into this apartment and starts talking to this guy, but he's actually living 7 years in the past. I've heard a lot of good things about this. I've heard that it's a really good contemporary romance, and so I am very curious to read this, and it's very short, so I think that I could read this pretty quickly. The next book that I want to read during the 48-hour readathon during Realmathon is A Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden. If I like this, I might continue on with the next 2 books in the trilogy, but it's also fairly short for a romantasy book, so I feel like it would be a good choice for Realmathon. All I really know about this is that it has dragons in it, so that was enough for me. It also has flowers on the cover, so good choice for the bonus prompt. The next book that I will want to read during the 48-hour readathon is Loot by Jennifer Thorne. So this book I think is actually a horror book, maybe like horror fantasy. So I think it would be a good palette cleanser just because it's a different genre. So I think it'll be more enjoyable. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I really like the cover on this one, so that is a lot of the reason why I bought it. So I honestly have no idea what it's about. Alright, and then I think I also might read every morning the Roy Home Gets Longer and Longer. I think is what it's called, by Frederick Bachman. And so that one's a really short, I want to say like novella. And I've read a couple of books by Frederick Bachman in the past and really liked them. So I feel like I might like this one too. And it would be great for a 48-hour readathon to get, more points for Team Stag. Oh, I have one more book, not for the 48-hour readathon, just for the month of March, that I might try to get to, but it's a bit chunky, so I don't know if I'll get to it or not, but we'll see if I can get to it. And that book is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. So this one is very hyped in the romantasy community, both on BookTube, BookTok, Bookstagram. It's everywhere right now. I've heard that Kingfisher, the main love interest, has a very dirty mouth, so I'm very curious about that. I have also heard that the side characters, especially Carry-On, is very funny, so I'm also excited for that. I love a good funny character. The female main character, I think, I don't know if she is a fae or if she's a human that goes to the fae world, but I believe that there's like this portal that she goes through to go from like a desert world to like a more icy world. That's really all that I know about this, other than it's hyped by everybody. Everybody that I've seen has loved this book for the most part, so I hope that I will also love it as well. We'll see if I can get to it, just because it is, it's fairly chunky, so we will see. So that is all of my potential hopefuls for the month of March to read. Hopefully I can rack up some good points for Team Stag throughout the month of March. I also at some point want to start a bookstagram, but I'm very overwhelmed by it just because I'm not like the most aesthetic person in the world. Like I can be, but I'm not, like, it doesn't come as naturally to me as it seems to some other people, and it's also a lot to maintain. I feel like once I get like a good rhythm and routine, it might be better, but for right now it's just kind of overwhelming. If you have any tips for that, let me know. Other than that is my March TBR. Let me know what you're reading in the month of March. Let me know if you're participating in Realmathon, what team you're on, and everything like that. I would love to chat about that in the comments. If you made it to the end of this video and you just want to let me know that you're here but you don't have like a lot to say, why don't you leave a like pink heart emoji in the comments to, I guess, mimic the pink cover of Amid Clouds and Bones, since I'm probably going to start with that book in the month of March. And other than that, I currently use Fable for all of my reading tracking, so I've left that link in the description. And other than that, I hope you have a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye.